bracelet pincushion that I had a lot of fun to make. It uses the Stardome pincushion pattern by Kaneko Fukutani. You can find it on Etsy. Scrunchy-like bracelet. That way I don't need to add an opening or fastener of any type, so it stays tight on my wrist, but it's not too tight. I mean, I made it exactly to the size of my wrist. I printed the pincushion pattern at 80% to get this size. Maybe practice on a bigger one first. Like I made two before, this one, and yeah, just one. But this is full size. It's way too big for a wrist pincushion, so maybe keep that in mind. So yeah, so I'm gonna show you how to do this, and I hope you like it. My wrist is 6 inches and a quarter, so I'm gonna take a piece of elastic. Flat waist elastic works best, so something like this. It's 1 inch wide. You just make sure they overlap like this. Cut like this. So here I have a piece of elastic that overlaps. It's just slightly snug, it's very comfortable. I will mark where the overlap begins, so it's about here. And I mark it on the other piece as well. I look where it ends. Underneath, then mark this, so just like I like it. If you like it snugger, to cut my fabric. So I chose this quilting cotton, very regular. For the bracelet, you need to add double the width, just a bit of wiggle room, just sewing allowance. I like to use 3/8 of an inch or 1 centimeter, so you would need 3/4 of an inch. Help yourself with, a stick. This is my favorite one, made myself. To turn under 1/4 of an inch on one side. There's 2 ways to finish this. The first one is you turn only one side, and the other you just put it in the tube, and you stitch on top of everything there. So it's fairly easy, no hand sewing required. Or you can turn in both ends like I did for this one, and just do a ladder stitch or a whip stitch and just join the edges together, and that way you don't catch the elastic in the middle, so it can move. Depends on whatever your preferences, I guess. So I'm gonna do the one without hand stitching today because I did the other one the other day. And so now it's time to thread the elastic inside. So I'm gonna use this. Overlapping section here, so you can pin it so it stays like that, because it's gonna want to creep out, of course, because it's very much pleated right now. So, oh, also if you want, you can sew down by stretching the elastic so the fabric is straight, but I don't personally do it. I don't find it necessary because it just doesn't move that much. It's just like that. It's not like you're twisting it around your hair or anything, or wearing a waistband. So this works. So I'm gonna take this to the sewing machine and sew it like this, exactly like it was on my wrist earlier. So for this I find using pin is useful. Books. Line here, about 2 millimeters from the like this. Let's go do this. Okay, so if you're like me and your free arm is quite big and you cannot fit it around, then you need to be a bit creative and just scoot it out of the way. And I like to put my needle down first and just go slowly. Inside the elastic, the 2 layers, and it's now one. It's a bit less invisible than the hand sewing, but it's gonna be, in this case, it's gonna be this, and your dome is gonna go on top. So what I did on this one was put little buttons like this. Just added them on top like this. What I recommend is, well, in the pattern of the Stardome Pincushion, when you're at the stage where you would, in the pattern it tells you to glue felt or something under, but personally I didn't have glue, so I just whip stitched around the edges. But before you add the felt and whip stitch it or glue it, you want to add these buttons first, otherwise it's very hard to sew on because there's a rigid base. That's very useful so you don't get the pins doesn't go into your arms. You can also just stitch it in place. I mean, this totally works. So for the pincushion, I would recommend, I'm gonna show you pictures. I put thread in there to keep it in place over the rigid piece of cardboard, so it would be taut, otherwise it can be a bit wonky, and yeah, so it helps. I hope this was useful. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.